Hello again. It is Drag Race Down Under time, and we are in the thick of season 3 as our queens are slowly but surely dwindling down to what is now our final 4. As this week we said goodbye to the one and only Ms. Bumpa Love.
What's up?
Darling.
Hello.
Hello, darling. What a ride. What a journey. How is it feel to be able to, I suppose, tell everyone first that it's over?
That's very sad. Mum was hoping to be right there to the end, but it is over. And so I'm very sad.
Of course, but all good things must come to an end.
Exactly.
Now we chatted before the show, and it was really interesting chatting before the show and then seeing what you thought was going to see, because you hadn't even seen it at that point, and then see what came out. And I remember you saying like you thought that you were going to end up coming across nicer than you are. Is that what you thought when you've watched it? You thought, oh God, they made me look like a much nicer person than I am.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. They were on point. I looked them really nice.
So what's the deal with Everyday Bumper then? Are we missing out on some bitchiness, some cattiness? What is it about Bumper you didn't think they captured then?
Yes, absolutely. You asked me a question, I'll give you a direct answer. So that's what was not in there.
You did seem to, I suppose, form a really good relationship with the queens, where they really did seem to quite love and respect you. Like we saw that episode where they wanted to name who was going to go home, and even the judges were going, well, are they just not saying Bumper because they don't want to say Bumper?
That was so crazy, that moment when where they weren't saying my name. That was so crazy. It was kind of laced with all kinds of things in my brain. I was feeling quite respected, and also, a little bit honored that they did that, even though after Ash says, oh, maybe I should have said Bumper, but you didn't.
In the moment, they didn't. And it speaks well to good relationships, which I think it really feels like there were a lot of good relationships in this season. How was that with the rest of you behind the scenes?
Yeah, I think maybe that had something to do with it as well. I really don't suffer fools easily, and if you're going to come for me, then I'll come back. I'll do it gently at first, but if you make me do it twice or 3 times, then it's going to be brutal. So I think it kind of made sense why they would say that, because really our conversations, when the cameras weren't rolling, or even when they were rolling, I've always been very honest with my opinion about myself, as well as everyone else. So it really did make sense.
Beautiful. Now, you put a lot of Bumper out there, and I think you took a lot of risks, I would say, which is, I think, something that I'm really enjoying about this season. People like to critique, and they like to say, when things don't go right on Drag Race, they like to put criticism out there. But I really think, and I think you're a really good example of it, is that people were not ready to play it safe. And there's so many things that you all could have done. We could have watched a talent show last night with 5 of you walking out and lip syncing to your own personal song. And I would have been bored to tears. But instead, we actually saw 5 of you try something new. So why comedy? Why did you try comedy or something, even though you were like, that isn't my thing?
Well, you got it right first time. I was going to come out and lip sync to my own song.
Thank God.
So that's what I was supposed to be doing. So it got cleared by APRA here in Australia, but something happened in New Zealand. I think it got cleared the day after filming. So I had no choice but 2 hours to pull that other shit out of my ass. So that's how I ended up with that, because I was going to sing my own track.
Wow, there you go. So you only got like 2 hours notice. By the way, the song that we said you could sing out the window. Yeah,
well, I kind of knew. I knew it was cleared here because I had 2 weeks to record it, put it together, put it through APRA. But by the time, because they might have had 3 days to try and clear it in New Zealand, and it just didn't get. I don't know why it took so long, but they should have just done it anyway. I should have just sang it a cappella. But that's all I had in my back pocket, and then when that was a no, I just had to pull that other stuff out of my behind. And I was using the feedback that I got from the critique, which I probably should have. I probably just should have sung the track a cappella, because that was not my best moment.
Oh, look, I think it speaks to the diversity of being a performer. Going, you know what, I'm going to try something else, and I still think, even though it didn't work out the best for you, I would rather see you try comedy and not work than see another episode with somebody singing their own song.
Now you've said that, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, it makes for good TV, and I think for all of you, nobody was so terrible that it broke the internet.
Well, exactly. I think I had a few laughs in there.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a bit of fun. And we got to see more of you, which is what the whole show is about. We get to see you doing all of the things that you can try and do, and also seeing you do the things that you're not always comfortable with. If we watch 10 of you go in there doing every single thing that you excelled at, there'd be no TV show.
Yeah, exactly. Totally.
So I enjoyed it. So thank you.
Oh, good.
And speaking of your performances as well, Snatch Game. Snatch Game.
Woo!
How did you feel in terms of your preparation process, and how you ended up with your end result for Snatch Game as well?
Yeah, it was a lot. Well, I mean, what didn't get filmed is I got one of the biggest laughs at the beginning, and I got many laughs, and then they just kind of filtered out by halfway through. So I started off really, really well. And what I've learned, my biggest lesson is, which I kind of knew, but I ignored, and you should never ignore this one rule. Do not pick someone who does not know, because when she's bantering with you, she's only going from what the producers, I think, can tell her about the character if she doesn't know them. But if she knows them, then she could, the repartee is a lot easier. But it was such a struggle because of the language and the questions that would come back. That it's very, I suppose, American, because it's American. And yeah, so I really want to do an All Stars, and I want to win that, because I think I will not choose that kind of a character. I'll do someone that Ru knows, or whoever the judges are know, and do it much better, because I got stumped halfway through because the questions didn't quite fit with the mentality of a Kiwi. So I've learned that lesson.
Beautiful. Now you say potential All-Stars Snatch Game. Are you going to tell us who you have potentially floating in your mind for a future All-Stars Snatch Game character?
Well, Whitney Houston, but my backup for this season was actually Rena Owen, Beth Hickhair from Once Were Warriors. So she was my other character. But you're probably Whitney or someone that they know that I can just be funny with.
Something to take the piss and go big.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, beautiful. Well, I reckon everyone's got a good chance at All Stars, and I think we've got an All Stars coming for Down Under at some point. So
yes, I hope so.
Look, Canada did 3 seasons, got a versus the world. UK did 3 seasons, got a versus the world.
Exactly.
We've done 3 seasons. We need an Australia or Down Under versus the world.
Time for an All Stars.
It's coming.
Absolutely
it's coming.
Although, you know what, if Thailand does Thailand versus the world, which they are, or the next one, I want to do that too, because I love going to Thailand to get my costumes.
That's where all of the sequins and the bedazzlement comes from.
All of the jewelry.
I love it. I love it. Now, speaking of All Stars and seeing more of you, what is it that you think that we didn't get to see enough of you, that you do really well, or that is part of you that hasn't made it to air yet from the show that you would have loved us to have seen?
Yeah, it's my sense of community. I don't know if a lot of that came across as much as I would have hoped, but yeah, if I had been on a bit longer, I think a lot more of, my sense of self, my sense of I actually love this community. I know this community. I'm a big cheerleader for it. So my sense of community, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean, I think we did get a bit of that. I think we got a good sense of Bumpa Love, and how much you were a caring character. But if there was more of that to see, I think it's beautiful. Now, you were the second last. We only have one more left from your house of, how do I pronounce it again?
Vaudeville.
Vaudeville. Only one Vaudeville girl left.
Yeah, well, she'll win. It's all hers. She's going to take it out. I'm 1,000% sure.
Whoa, big call, because it's a tight 4. It's a tight 4, and I'm very, very impressed. What do you think, because Isis, what do you think is her core strength in this competition that we even haven't got to see enough of yet?
Yeah, there's I've been in performing arts all my life, and with artists, I've worked with many artists, dancers, choreographers, actors, singers. opera, you know, and there's a moment where an artist gets to their zeitgeist. I think Isis has been in that place in the series, and she's in her zeitgeist.
Beautiful. I can't wait to see what she turns out for us. Now, what aside from vaudeville, what else have you got in the works for us? What can we see you coming up to next now that Drag Race is checked off the list?
Well, I'm going to be in our newest production at Vaudeville called Discotheque. I'm also going to be performing in Midsummer. I'm in Adelaide in a few weeks' time as well. And I am looking at doing a tour with one or two of the girls from Drag Race. So, you know, working and touring, but I really want to do more film and TV work. So I'm looking forward to seeing what I can wrangle up with that in the next few months.
Yeah, I can just see it now. Bumpa Love on the next season of Survivor.
Yeah, no, Love Island. Bumpa Love needs to do Love Island. Or the block. I love the block as well. I could do the block. I could be a block.
I want to see you hosting the block. Like, fuck came out that other guy, whatever his name is, off, but put you as the host. That's a show to watch.
He could be my daddy. You could have Daddy Cam. He's good, but I'll be his bit on the side.
I love it. Well, I can't wait to see how that turns out and where we're going to see you on our screens next. But it has been an absolute pleasure, Bumpa Love. Make sure everybody follow her on the socials down below so you can see more of where you end up.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much for joining me, darling.
Thanks, Michael. Thank you so much. Mwah!
And as always, we'll be back with more of our queens as we get to the pointy end of the competition next week. I'm Michael James, and I'll see you next time.